You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning, and hello, kits and cubs, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 159 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, July 10th, 2023, and it will be a cloudy but thankfully cooler day here at the Beaver Lodge after a week in which the globe set the 3 highest average surface temperatures days in a row. 3 days in a row. The highest ever recorded. Yeah, no wonder the world's burning. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me as always is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Thank you so much to Kit Ellen, who says that I'm having another fabulous hair day. Thank you. We have a very special morning. Well, very special. It's always very special because you're here, but we don't have anything particularly special planned. We have a Monday morning bite for you. And before we do anything else, Mr. Grizzly, how are you today? How's your mental health?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. My mental health, it's better than it was yesterday. I got a little dehydrated yesterday and maybe a little bit of heat stroke.
Not fun.
No, it wasn't fun at all. I don't know what happened. Woke up, I felt fine, and I went out and met with Bridget. She was volunteering for a 5K run, doing some like marshalling or security and that. So went out and met with her, and then we were out in the sun for a couple of hours, and then we went to the finish line to see the presentations and that. And I just got really dizzy and almost passed out. So she walked me home, and then made me a couple of electrolyte drinks that runners take, not a branded name, but anyway. And I had to lie down for a while because I was not in good shape. You know, it came around eventually, but it was a rough start to the day, to say the least. Thanks. My hair is looking fabulous, is it?
Oh, see the wind going through it. It's just, ooh.
Well, when my beard got to its length, just before I cut it out, a couple of days I was out and it was really windy and I could feel it blowing around. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that's like again. I forgot. It's been so many years since I've had the wind in my hair, right? So,
It's the real reason why I have this, to be totally honest. Of the four elements, wind is my favorite. So I just I like wind in my hair. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I find it comforting for some reason.
okay.
It's like Mother Nature's just stroking my hair.
Fair enough.
um, I am not my usual self.
Oh, was that? Yeah, you're rather mellow this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
What's up?
Well, Friday. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not sure
yeah.
if all the kids are aware because I talked about it on Casual Friday and whatnot. But I had an incident happen on Friday evening. Um, the long story is that my Beaver sweetie and I are planning to do some renovations. We have an old workshop
Mm,
that is on our property that has been abandoned for about 30 something years.
mm,
There was a hole in the roof. The floor started to rot, that type of stuff. So last year we replaced the roof, and well, this year we want to take it off the ground, or this year or next year, whatever, whenever we can get the people, because that's
mm,
not obvious. Um, we want to just put it on a concrete pad,
mm,
right, because it's directly on the ground, and then hopefully make a recording studio out of it. Um, So we asked if we needed a permit. We got one. We didn't get a permit, but they contacted us and they said, well, first they needed a drawing, architectural drawing of the pad
mm.
and an elevation, and they need us to plot it. Either have a survey done or plot it somewhere with measurements from the property line.
Right.
So we got a resource online that sort of shows what the plots are. They kind of look equal, but there's no
Mm,
measurements on them. So my Beaver sweetie was out, so just sort of like doing rough measurement, like just with his feet, just one foot
mm.
in front of the other, seeing how
Pacing.
many steps there were and see if all the properties were somewhat sort of equal and, whereabouts the line might be in
Mm,
that. And then when he got an idea, I guess he took a measuring tape and whatnot and started making some measurements at some place to try and see. Well, it seems that a neighbor 4 doors down
mm,
witnessed that and had a problem with that. Now, this is a neighbor we've gotten along with pretty much very well for the last 2 years since we moved in here.
mm,
One of the first people to greet us. He's sort of that nosy neighborhood watch neighbor. You know,
mm.
the one that's always up in the morning, has the perfect manicured lawns, always watering it somehow, and is talking to everybody about everybody.
Needs to get a life.
Right. So, but you know this, right?
Mm,
Oh, Mohan said Google Earth's a good resource for that. Okay, we'll need to talk because I don't know how to use it that way. Um, he's a lead generator for a contracting business.
mm,
So in other words, he goes out and, hears about people who might need something. Hey, I can send a guy to give you an evaluation. So I'm guessing he gets commission for anything.
yeah,
That,
yeah. A
so
sales rep, basically.
yeah. So when we moved in last year, we noticed like a couple of concrete things that we might have to have done. And, he mentioned he's into that. So, we had them come over. We talked a little bit, but we weren't ready to make decisions. I mean, we just got into the house, right? We're not going to just walk in and say, okay, we want to renovate this, this, and this. You got to live
Mm.
in it for a little bit, and
Figure it out.
see how things work. So they came in and we decided not to do anything that year because, we are also going to do some energy efficiency renovations. You also want to put them in the order and you can't do them all at the same time because there's only a limited amount of cash flow. So we didn't do it last year. And I guess he thought that we were time wasters at that point.
Mm,
But nothing had changed in our relationship.
mm,
We figured that out because we asked them to come this year. And at first they didn't want to come because we didn't do anything last year. So fine, we continued doing other bids. And then eventually they decided, okay, well, we'll come. So they came, they took a look. We actually liked what they were saying.
mm,
They were willing to meet the price that we got from another estimator.
mm,
And we were actually leaning towards going that way. But then they started talking about, well, we can do it without tax if you pay cash. It's like, well, that might sound nice, but, we're talking about adding to our property value. So we kind of want the receipts.
You need the receipt. Yeah,
Number
yeah.
two, we're also, doing some things that might get us some grants or whatnot. So we need to actually submit the estimates,
Mm-hmm.
right, in order to qualify for the grants. So we asked for estimates, and that's when things started getting weird because every time we said estimate, for some reason they kept on hearing bill.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like an estimate. Okay, so we'll be bringing you a bill.
Oh
No,
no.
we would really like an estimate. We're not at the point of making a decision yet. We're at the point where we're comparing. It's like, we've watched CBC Marketplace. They've kind of taught us how we should do this. We're following
Mm-hmm.
this one by the book. Thank you very much. Well, it turns out he didn't really want to make us an estimate if he wasn't sure he was going to get the job.
Well,
So, on a phone conversation when this was happening, well, we said we don't do business that way, and this person just hung up on us.
okay.
So we thought, okay, well, that's that then. Not a word, not
Mm-hmm.
a glance had been exchanged between us since then. It's been a couple of weeks now, about maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So we're talking about how we noticed that on the property lines, the property line from the city seems to go several feet onto the actual property.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. And then we've noticed, I guess back in the day, Alex was saying that I guess that when they did the laneways, the city only went to one part and then it was up to the rest of the people because he's been noticing that on several properties there's a crack and they're all in the same spot, same place where the city
Mm-hmm.
work ended and where that. Yes, and as we were walking back, we were looking at laneways, and I saw one on the laneway next door to this guy, and I pointed at it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when this guy came rushing out of his house. What are you doing looking at people's houses? This is an invasion of privacy. So I was like, what the hell is this new behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why not like walk out the door and say, hey guys, I noticed that you were doing a couple of things. Like, what's that about?
Yeah. Instead of
Yelling,
yelling.
screaming, accusations. Like, wow, you sure turned.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why. Right? As far
Mm-hmm.
as we're concerned, there's only one thing that happened that could possibly explain a complete change of attitude. And during that conversation, well, he had come out of his house and he's walking down the steps. He was still on his property, like this, but he was coming to us,
Mm-hmm.
and he was yelling, and I'm like looking at him like, what? Because at this point, I didn't know that my sweetie had done that. So he's like, why are you looking at people's houses? Why are you? I'm thinking like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude. I'm like, what? And he's like just yelling. And then at one point during all of this, he says, faggots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that them's fighting words is what those are, my friend.
Yeah. Well, you never know what you're going to do in a situation like this. I'd always used to brag because here's the thing. I'm 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in Canada all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been openly gay since I was 16. I lived in the city that was the gay bashing capital of Canada.
Mm-hmm. It's truth.
Other than things like, you're walking down the street and some idiot in a car goes, faggot. Like that happens,
Mm-hmm.
right? That doesn't bother me. It is. Or, sometimes, you're walking on the street or something like that and something, so, you bump someone by accident, you go, oh, I'm sorry, and then someone goes, faggot, under their breath.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I don't know these people. It doesn't matter. But this is a guy. I mean, it's not like we were hanging out.
No, but you knew.
Every time I pack on the street, hey, Douglas, hey, right? Hi, right? Stop. How you doing? Yeah, great. He's been on our property,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden we have someone who knows where we live.
Yeah.
That's an entirely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's a threat.
so I always had bravado, right? So like, oh, if anybody ever does that, then I'll. But you never know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's a scary situation. Um, I don't know what happened to me, but as soon as he said it, it was like a needle on a record going scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped on a dime, turned around, got big, like I was like fighting a bear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'6", 158 pounds. I'm not a big guy. Found here my Mr. Grizzly voice.
Mhm.
for some reason. And I was like, what did you just say? I just like took 5, 6 steps really fast towards him, like to stop like this. And my eyes got really narrow. And it's like, what did you just say? You want to
You
beat
went full.
down
You
down
went
there?
full Blue Jacket, didn't you?
I did.
I rubbed off on you, did I?
I really did. I don't know where it was. This guy backed up, went back up his stairs and right by his door.
Hmm.
So I think I somewhat unsettled him because I'm sweet.
Hmm.
I'm soft spoken, right? Like this is my voice. People
Yeah.
often have to ask me to speak up because I speak too softly. Um, I don't think he expected that.
No, definitely
I
not.
surprised myself,
Hmm.
but I am really glad I didn't do the. Oh, he calls for just put your head down, put your tail between your legs, and
No, because then he
scurry
wins, and
home
you can't
fast.
let that happen. You can't let that happen. You
Yeah.
have to stand up and let them know I'm not going to put up with this shit.
So I let him have it. Um, oh boy, I let him have it. Um, I probably invited him to engage in certain activities with himself that he might find difficult because he really does not do yoga. Um, let me just say, um, that probably wasn't to my credit, but oh well. Um, and then we went home, and then I was so angry. Well, so angry. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm angry, but I did not lose control.
Hmm.
Right. Um, I was very, 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 very focused as to what it is I wanted to accomplish there. And then I came in and I just went to the computer and said, I'm filing a police report.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing to do.
Hmm.
We have found out every time. Uh, it is scary to do, however,
Oh, of
because if you
course.
file a police report,
It's public
uh,
record.
it's public record, but you assume uh, that possibly there will be a follow up, that somebody will go knock on a door,
Hmm.
right? And once police comes and knocks on the door, like this, the other person could say, "Ooh, these people are serious," and
Hmm.
back out, and the situation will probably be something like, will just never talk to us again. Uh, or it could be a situation you called the cops, and then
Yeah, I
things
did.
escalate, and then things escalate.
Hmm.
He also mentioned something about having us on camera when
So
he did
what?
that. So yeah, but I mean, so he's got one of these doorbell things that are facing this
Probably,
way
yeah.
and can see. So, but that means that he can see every time that we leave, when one
Hmm.
of us is alone or when the place is unattended.
Mm.
If the camera on his video thing is set that way.
So we'll have to get you a Nest camera as well.
So, so that's a little scary. I filed a police report. The police called to speak to my Beaver sweetie because I listed my Beaver sweetie as a not so much witness, but someone who's also affected by it.
Hmm.
My Beaver sweetie didn't say anything in that time because he was in total shock that that word even came out of his mouth. Total shock. It just stopped him dead in his tracks and made him mute. It was just
Hmm.
like, yeah, filed the police report, and then they contacted Alex yesterday and asked him to file his own report. So we
Hmm.
did. In it, we did mention, I didn't mention it in mine, but Alex mentioned it because we talked after and said, like, we would really like this to be a situation where we just put our foot down and say, yo, this is unacceptable.
Hmm.
You will not, this will not be our interaction. And that the person might take a couple of days and weeks and say, you know what, yeah, that was probably over the line, and that we can go back
Hmm.
to saying hello on the street. We do not want any ill will,
Hmm.
not anything bad to happen to them.
But he can't be allowed to get away with it
But you
because
can't be allowed to get away with it.
bullies will continue to bully if you don't stop them in their tracks.
And the reason for which you file a report, whether you want follow up or not, because I'm guessing you can file a report and say, listen, I don't want anybody to go and talk to him like this. I just want this, like this, but I want it on
For the
file in case
record.
he does it to someone else.
Hmm.
to establish a pattern. So you always report. Always, always, always report. And when you report, they ask you for the narrative, just the plain facts. Don't
Mhm.
embellish, don't
No, no.
lie, don't like this. And if you added something that might have contributed, like me telling him to go
Mhm.
fornicate with himself, and I didn't invite him to find the experience as pleasant as I found him. I would usually, when I say that, I add the other part too.
Mhm.
Please go fornicate with yourself and find the experience as pleasant as I found you. But I did not do that. I just told him to go fornicate with himself. uh, so that's the situation where we're at now. On the day of, after I filed the report, I was actually quite good because we did the casual Friday, which I
Mhm.
arrived late at, and I was fine. And it was the next day.
Mhm.
It was the next day that I was a bit shook. Um,
Well,
well,
your
not shook, but
adrenaline would have
not
been
shook,
riled
but
up on Friday, right?
I
You
think
would have
that's
been
what, yeah.
charged.
It's
Yeah.
the adrenaline. It was the drop. I
Mhm.
went to play tennis on Saturday, and I thought, I got a little aggression. I'm gonna smack that crap out of that ball.
You didn't have it?
Every time I came to do a backhand, it's like I went like this, stopped here, it would hit my racket, and just bit up, down, down. My serves, no power, no nothing. I was target practice that day.
Mm.
Everything was short and just came back like boom. I was just standing there and watching things go by, and it's like, all throughout the match, I'm going, Douglas, just hit the damn ball, swing harder.
Couldn't do it, right?
Nothing. It's like everything had been, all the aggression had been pulled out of me
Yeah.
that night when I filed the report. I
That's
played
what
again. Yes,
happens.
I played again yesterday, like this, and against a guy I never won a game off of. Lost 8-0 every time. 8-4 yesterday. I was really, really, really focused. For some reason. Yeah, I kind of surprised him. It's like, where the hell did that come from today? It's like, I really don't know, but it wasn't there yesterday at all. It wasn't happening. So yeah, and I'm talking about the story and I'm still vibrating a little bit here. Um, but yeah, just I'm seeing some comments here, and the kid's adrenaline hangover. It's chemical, and
Mhm.
PC and Bio has some things that I could imagine I could do to sort of like, yeah, but no, I will not do that. That's not good, especially since he's got a video camera. No, no. The, Alex, however, was delightfully evil yesterday. We turned around and said, that air duct cleaning company we called like in the first days we moved here like this, and then they called us every like 5 days for about a year
Mhm.
before they finally stopped. So I thought, what if we gave his number to them and said, "Hey, I would like air duct." And I was sitting there, I was going to go, "No, you can't." And then I stopped and going, "Wait a minute. That's genius." It's not against the law. It's not. It's
No,
like
it's a sales call.
it's sales call. And it's, but I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but it could probably be traced back to us somehow. I mean, somebody has to place the initial call saying, "Hey,
So you go downtown and do it from a public phone. There's still a couple of them around, right?
yeah, that's what I thought, or public library or something." But it's like, I just thought, oh man, that's, I'm like really, I have to say that I've got the angel beaver,
Mhm.
the devil beaver.
Just get a
It's like
burner.
the angel beaver's going, that's bad karma. And the angels and the devil beavers go, oh, who's gonna know? It's perfectly wonderful. Go ahead, do it. Oh, but karma. Ah, come on, he deserves it.
See,
Nobody will get hurt.
one of
Little
my
squidoid.
one of my buddies would have done something entirely different and not quite as nice as what you've suggested. He would have one of my buddies would have uh, unleashed a hurricane of gay porn subscriptions on him.
Oh, that's also freaking brilliant. I
A hurricane, like
and I was thinking of things like not revenge stuff, but sort of like make you feel uncomfortable stuff. So like, it was like,
Mhm,
well, you don't want me looking at your house. Well, every time I'm going to pass your house, I'm going to go, "Ooh,
mhm.
I'm passing by your house now. I'm not looking, not invading your privacy." And of course, that's like a little, you know, or like this where I thought of like walking with a sign going, "This is what two faggots just walking looks like." Just two faggots walking, no panic. Like just like little this, but probably not conducive
That would
to
be
good relations, and
antagonizing.
probably,
Yeah.
well, we did say in the report that we would like to be able to get back to where we were. I mean, it's going to be one of those things, though. However, let's be honest, there's a crack in the mirror
Mm-hmm.
like this, and you can crazy glue the mirror together, and you can make it all level and whatnot like this. You're still going to see the crack,
Well,
right?
it's
You can't unring that bell.
you don't want to escalate it. I mean, I can think of a million different ways to get some psychological revenge, and all I would
Catharsis.
do, is think about them. Don't act upon them,
Well, thinking
because
about them is human.
it,
Acting on them is illegal. Thinking is just human.
and it's also cathartic. So just do that. Think about all the different ways you could mess them up, and don't act on any of them. That's my
Mhm.
suggestion. I mean, I've never been in this situation. Well, I've been bullied by a lot of people, right? And especially after 2022. But
Mm.
a lot of it I just completely ignore. Or I laugh at it. I laugh at it because
Mm.
I find a great deal of it is funny, because it shows me how pathetic they are in their lives. And it's
Yeah,
like, so you cheered on an entire city getting harassed, and you think that's funny?
yeah,
Oh, uh, uh,
yeah.
uh.
So it's the same thing. It's like when somebody out of a car says like, "Ah, yeah," it's like loser. I walk by, but this guy knows where I live.
Yeah, it's
We were
different.
friendly.
Yeah, yeah, that's different. That's personal. That's
We had
that's
interactions on a regular basis over the periods of 2 years.
yeah, that's different. That's him letting his. Yeah, that's the stochastic terrorist that is Skippy the Wonder Pigeon, who's emboldening people to feel that they have the right to say these things and that they can get away with it. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it is.
But it's a situation of the
Hmm.
mask fell,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And here's the kicker: um, we have issues a few doors down on the other side with some people who have some addictions.
Hmm.
Not issues, I should say. People who have some
Concerns.
addictions, and sometimes we have found a needle
Hmm.
in our laneway. We've once found a meth pipe on our
Hmm.
lawn. Um, and every now and then there's been some noise, yelling at 2 in the morning or
Hmm.
something, right? But these neighbors have always been kind.
Hmm.
We could always knock on the door and say, it's getting a little much. Oh, okay. Sorry. Right.
Hmm.
We also say hello.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people don't do that because, they're those kind of people, but that's the neighborhood I grew up in as a kid. These are my
Yeah,
people.
yeah. So it's no.
To me,
This is
it's
no
not weird to live
no biggie.
close to people who have addictions. I'm not uncomfortable,
Hmm. Yeah,
right? Um, they're good people. They're just a little broken. Like
and
sometimes they mow our front lawn for us,
yeah, they're human.
like
They're
just for
coping.
right. So I'm sitting there and it's like, dude, right? Because he also made a comment like, "Go hang over with your little friends there from the other side." Like, so now we're not only faggots, we're crackheads too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, it's like, dude, those people may indulge in crack every now and then. Like, but I'm going to bed knowing tonight that these are better people than you. These
Yeah.
people that you're looking down on,
Hmm.
they're actually better people than you.
They're not punching down, but he is. He must have a really, really.
I would not be surprised. But it's like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? I'm just,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think de-escalate it by just ignoring him. Just ignore him. He's been reported. That's good.
well,
Um, if he tries to escalate it, well, just let him know you're not going to put up with it.
hmm.
I mean, you already scared the shit out of him, obviously, because he thought he was going to push you over and you were going to be this diminutive little coward that would run away and go, oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
The
You didn't do that.
stereotypical poofter, right?
Yeah, you didn't do that. You didn't do
Ugh.
that.
No,
So
he
he's
came from my
afraid now.
family.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have kids, but by Beaver
Yeah.
Street is my family.
Mm-hmm.
He came from my family. He knows where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And that behavior is completely unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out, I've always said to myself, oh, faggot, eh? I'm the faggot that'll fuck you up. Turns out that I am.
Well, there you go. Lesson learned. Lesson taught.
You came for the queen, bitch, and you missed. He went out, and here's the thing, right? About like 10 minutes later, like Alex heard him, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
he ran to our next door neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you ran to the neighbor. We called the cops. You're the first to tell the neighbors to try to destroy our reputation on the block.
Mm-hmm.
But we were the first to call the cops.
All right. Lesson learned.
You might be getting a visit today, given that it's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we have some syncretized tea drinking?
I need my coffee.
Yum, yum, yum. Yep, yeah, right. You're right, Jen. He fucked with the wrong queen. All right. Now that that's done, now you know. Thank you for your support. I'm seeing all the comments here. You have Kit Saucy going, treating addicts like humans goes a long way to helping them feel like they belong.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they do. They do. He's winning the neighborhood shithead and he's being beaten by crackheads. Sounds great. PNC bio. You kids know just what to say. Oh, man. Umbrella time. Open it like a shield as you walk by. Maybe I'll just wear it as a parasol and twirl it. Sir, walking by your house, not caring about your existence, looking fabulous. Twirl, twirl, twirl. Oh, man. Okay. Let's get to some news. That's not about me because, kiddies, to be totally honest, I like curating the news and presenting it to you. I don't like being the
it.
news.
Yeah.
I really don't like being the news.
It's not fun, is it?
It is not. It is not. Because you got to remember, as a kid, if the walls were beige, I would wear beige so I could better blend in and not stand out in any way, shape, or form. The fact that I'm doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not acting or pretending to be something like actually me with my own words and my own thoughts, putting it out there into the world with my face and my voice to them. It is not natural. So, yeah, I really don't like being. I'm not. Like, when I'm on stage, I like everybody to look at me. Otherwise, I really do not like being the center of attention. It's. So yeah, it's weird. I have to say, it is weird. All right, news.
I have to.
I don't know where to. Yeah, please.
I have to share something on the screen here. This is from Stampede. You know that Calgary Stampede is on right now.
Yes.
Here is a. So the of course the prime minister was there and the official opposition was there and the premier of the province was there and here's a photo of the premier of the province with some gentleman whose name I think is Aaron. Eric or Aaron, I can't quite make it out on his name tag, but
Yes.
read his shirt.
Thank a straight person today for your existence, straight pride. I am happy to thank a straight person for my existence, but straight people, if you're tired of gay people, stop making us. Keep it in your pants. You make us. Like it says on your shirt.
Like, I'm sorry. What? Like, come on. Look, really. What
Who advised?
Comms person would say this is a good idea?
Yep.
Look, that will fire up her base. But the rest of the world's going, what in the living hell did I just witness?
And
Like,
the
brutal.
back of the shirt says, "Good people disobey bad gays or bad laws." Sorry,
Bad laws.
good people disobey bad laws.
I just, what? And she came out and made a speech about pride a few weeks ago, too. And that was when Christine Anderson, the German Nazi, said, "Oh, yeah, we've lost another one." I'm like,
I know. I know. I know.
I just don't understand people some days.
I know. I know. It's all right. Well, since we're talking about Stampede,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's a lot of work, like a lot of work going on for people. Um, you've got Kian and all of his
Oh,
friends, like Andy and all of them, really, really, really pushing hard the narrative that, well, nobody is happy that the prime minister is there and that he's come here and only had seen dozens of people have welcomed him. And oh, well, look at that. He's doing a fundraiser while he's here. Oh my God, isn't he a terrible person that he's not here just for Calgarians and the Stampede and
mm-hmm.
all the typical stuff. So um, then you had Peeair with his makeover. Um, Turns out he was. People point out that he was wearing foundation uh,
Yeah.
for the parade. Now,
I don't have an issue with that. I just think it's a little okay. Why? But I don't have an issue with that. I mean, it's a free country. He wants to do that. He can. I don't have an issue with it at all.
yeah.
Just I don't understand why.
Well, see, now I can understand like for the debate stage, right? Cameras, whatnot.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like this,
You're on television.
but you're outside, right? So if you'll
Yeah.
put it up, Mr. Grizzly, this image here.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I can get it much better. If you look right here when you see this image, you can see that some of the foundation got on his collar.
Mhm.
It's discolored. So that's how
Yeah.
people figured that out. So we've got a makeover, we've got foundation, and then it seems that his staff had noticed that. And so they went out to get him a new shirt.
Mhm.
And then this. See all the creases?
Fresh off the rack.
Yeah, Dean that said, "Hey, Pierre Pulver, new shirt? Tell someone over there to grab an iron at Walmart tonight, $20 tops." And now, here's the thing again, PR guy, right? This guy's a poser.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
There's nothing authentic about it. He's a poser. That shirt, presented that way, says, when you don't care enough to do a good job of faking it, like ironing the shirt to pretend you've owned it for longer than the past 3 minutes. This is literally phoning it home.
Yeah. Oh
Phoning
yeah.
it home. Now, this sounds trite and trivial, whatnot like this, but trust me, there are people that are paid really big bucks to think about these things.
Mhm.
Okay. This is bad. Um, of course, it's all trivial, right? Um, and then for some reason, so you've got Kian going, this trip has been mighty embarrassing for Trudeau, from waving at empty parking lots to being jeered at his own pancake breakfast. It's safe to say he's not welcome. Pulliver's pancake breakfast had 10 times the turnout compared to the prime minister. Blah, 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 blah. And then you had Andy Lee basically copy Kian, because Kian's been on this thing for like all weekend. So he put something up at like at 12:45 in the afternoon on Friday, and Andy Lee put something at 9 o'clock in the evening when it was pretty much the same word, saying the same thing, right? Like this, nobody came. Well, then, like this, oh, there it goes. The CBC is pumping it into overdrive today to try to convince the country that more than a dozen people in Alberta like Justin Trudeau. Like, and then some twit afterwards said, would be so like the CBC to show a series, would so like the show a CBC reporter actually try to find those 11. So, well, turns out we didn't need them because according to that notable, very, very, very popular left-wing rag, the Calgary Herald, this was the headline. Political chat. Flapjack flipping on agenda for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Stampede visit. Within the article, that positive reception was evident on the Midway Friday afternoon. Trudeau was swarmed by thousands of people mugging to take a selfie with him. So the Calgary Herald is reporting thousands. They're saying barely a dozen. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to lie, Huh? Barely 200 showed up. Barely. Right?
It's like they lie,
but the real number
it's so
is
easily disproved.
Thousands with an S, plural.
Yeah.
Bet you not even a dozen showed up. It is so desperate. So desperate. So people were upset. Just completely, totally beside themselves. Andy Lee, in particular, was quite upset. And for some reason, I cannot find it, but I will find it eventually. She was really upset that the Prime Minister would dare to do a fundraiser while he was there. And she seemed to be also very upset that he would take some time to meet with one of his MPs that were there, George Shahal from Calgary, the guy who unfortunately got caught removing campaign material. Someone. But it's like, gee, it's totally terrible and awful that the leader of a party, while in an area, would visit the representative from that area, from his party and their constituents. It would be extremely terrible that if you're going someplace for an event, that you multitask while you're there and have a fundraiser. Apparently this is horrible. I don't understand why politics as usual suddenly is horrible, but horrible. She referred to George Shahal as a porch pirate. Because he broke election law when she did that. When he did that, and said, "Choose your prime minister." Boo Boo Kitty, you are singling out the brown guy with the weird name as a porch pirate because he took campaign material from someone else off a porch. And that violated election law. While at the same damn time, with the same damn breath, you are shilling for the white guy who has a lifetime compliance agreement with Elections Canada because he tried to gain extra value by mixing party and electoral politics at the same damn time, which is worse because he has a deferred prosecution agreement. That's what a compliance order is. It's a deferred prosecution agreement because he was going to be pursued in court.
Irony is dead. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, thy
Seriously?
name is Conservative Party of Canada and supporters thereof.
And then she's upset with his fundraiser. There we go. Finally found it. Took me long enough. So there you go. Let's put this up, Mr. Grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
What Trudeau is really doing in Calgary. Hint, it's not about the citizens who are celebrating the Calgary Stampede. Laurier Club Stampede reception with Justin Trudeau, date July 7th. Event, Laurier Club Stampede. Location, Calgary. Featuring the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Randy Boissonneau, who's also from Alberta, and Anita Anand. Donation amount, $0 to $1,700. So you don't actually have to donate to go.
Yeah, you can just go. Yeah. Wasn't Skippy out?
She has a... Well, I'm funny you mentioned that. Volunteer donate an evening with Peeair Polliver in support of the Conservative Party of Canada. Date July 7th, the same damn day.
Why isn't she talking about that?
Location 168th Avenue, Southeast Calgary. Time 5:30. Maximum donation $1,700. Maximum donation $1,700. No, they don't say that you have the option to donate $0 there.
Yeah. She'll probably go off on, well, the reason I didn't talk about it is because he's from Calgary. Yeah, but that's not his riding. Skippy's riding is Carleton Place. It's Carleton, sorry. It's
Yeah.
here. It's in Ottawa, his riding. So what? I don't give a damn that he's from Calgary. That's not where his riding is. That's not where he gets elected.
Yep. So, yeah, if you are upset that the Liberal leader is having a fundraiser on a day that you can get in for free, and he tells people you can get in for free, and you're not upset that the Conservative leader is doing the same damn thing without telling people you can get in free,
You're a hypocrite.
you might be an Andrea. Then, right? Let's see here. So this is one where I'm saying there she's stealing his, so she stole his act, and now they're saying like, not only did he was like an overdrive, but he stayed hidden and he was stuck, in that little riding with, right, every month. Sorry, what did she say? Anyway. So and then, like I said, here we go, the porch pirate thing, right? Here's what she said. One person openly participated in stampede events with citizens. The other couldn't show his face in public and hid with a porch pirate that broke election rules in private. Pick your next prime minister. Well, okay, one person couldn't show his face in public, allegedly, right? But we have the Calgary Herald. My God. Jeez. Wow. The Calgary Trudeau. I think I just made a whole bunch of sphincters
That's a
snap
Freudian
shut.
slip. Yes.
West. So again, the Calgary Herald said that the thing was happening on the Midway. Is the Midway not part of the Stampede, and is that not in public?
Yes, it is.
And here we
It's where
go,
the
Mr. Grizzly, if you would put it. Here are
there
the.
we go.
I'll just go a little bigger here. Here are the dozens of people. This is the Prime Minister being afraid to show his face in public.
Right. Flipping flapjacks, just talking to people at random. Yeah, he looks like he's
Dozens.
quivering his boots there.
Barely even a dozen. And not in public. Hiding out.
Yeah. Funny
Gee.
that, eh?
And more. And more. And more. And more. And more.
Yeah.
Notice
Nice
who the
try, Ken.
people of color. Notice who the people of color and people who wear things on their head that are not cowboy hats are going to see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not Peeair. It's
Nope.
not Peeair. Only one of them is interested in being the prime minister of all Canadians. Only one. Only one.
Well, and let's talk about for a minute, shall we? Let me just put
Please.
a thing on the screen here, and just a sec here. I'm waiting for it to. My computer's just plugging along here for some bizarre reason. Trying to load a document, and it doesn't want to load. And it's there. We go. Okay, now loaded. I will. I was going to try and highlight it, but it's not letting me do that. So I will just go with this. And well.
Oh, we got the fourth quarter reports.
Let's look
now.
at some expenses here. Yeah. Let's look at the January 1st to March 23. Anthony Rota, Speaker of the House. Salaries, $221,000. Travel, hospitality, $9,000. Contracts, $8,700. And we can go down here to, let's see, Mark Holland, House Leader, Government Liberal, $15,000 salary expense, $269 hospitality, $686 contracts. Chief Whip of the Government Liberal, $336,000 basically in salaries. Travel, not even 1,200, $450 in hospitality, $1,135 in contracts. Cox Chair Government, $57,000. Trudeau, Right Honourable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, National Caucus Research Office, Government Liberal. Salaries, $1,037,221. That's for his office, not just him, right?
Yep.
Travel, $1,237. Hospitality, $0. Contracts, $87,747. Peeair Polliver, salaries, $1,173,287.94.
Which is
travel, $146,000.
Which is a way lot more,
basically
because the Prime Minister is
$147,000.
1,237. Yeah, and the Prime Minister is 1,237.
Hospitality, $10,000. And look at his
Zero for
contracts, $235,000.
Which is about
for hospitality.
3 times what the Prime Minister's National Caucus Research Office has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're spending like, again.
Look at those numbers; they speak for themselves, right?
Holy crap!
Okay, but it's not just there. He's the leader position. Then we go down here to Stornoway, $53,458 and $978 in contracts. Candace Berg, we already know about her move. What was that, $30,000? So they go on and on and on about expenses and Trudeau, your money, and it's $146,994.93. Throw another $5.07 in there, and you're up to $147,000 in travel.
Yeah, it's about 145 that the national office spent on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Prime Minister is spending too much. His inflationary policies and reckless spending.
It's
thanks to Tabby G. Tabby sent that to me.
Yeah, it's always freaking projection. It's always freaking projection.
And speaking of projection, I got to project another cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Sorry. I thought that was cute.
That was very, 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 very smooth. All right. So we have, wow. Yeah, it's been an interesting day, interesting few days of gaslighting from that side of the political spectrum. I really don't know what they get from it. I mean, I know that it's red meat to the base, and it makes it so that they'll open up the wallets, and you'll get the clicks and all of that. But after that, what do you get? I just don't. I don't see it. I just really don't see it. The other thing that has been going on is, how would I say? That Trump virility thing that became a thing for a while? It's like, oh yeah, Trump is so virile, and he can do all these things, and Joe Biden's so sleepy and weak and old, and well, they're at it again. But now they're doing it with Peeair. For some reason, um, and it seems to be a theme all along, because there's some weird stuff going on as well. If you've heard, if you're paying a little bit of attention to the States, you've heard that DeSantis put out that anti-gay video, but with lots of images of oiled up muscle people in them, and and now you have like Elon Musk actually proposing a literal dick measuring contest with Mark Zuckerberg, and sort of like, it's like, you dislike gay and you dislike trans, but you keep on trying to show your leaders as being masculine, and having a whole bunch of people going, oh my God, he's jacked and so hot. And, and then you've got, oh yeah,
Okay.
we'll get to there, like this. And now we're sitting there, go like this, hey, let's just take out our dicks and measure them. It's like, what? You're next going to be lovingly cupping each other's nutsacks?
I believe the kids call that docking. Don't they call that docking?
No, docking is different.
I know what it is. I know what it is. I was just making fun.
Docking is what happens after lovingly cupping nutsacks, when you don't want to go all the way.
You need to have a foreskin to dock.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know lots of stuff, okay? I read. That, and I work in construction for many, many years, and guys would try and freak out the other guy with strange images and stuff on the internet on our phones at coffee break time. They go, hey, check this out. Oh, Jesus, you got me.
So we got this guy.
They pull stuff like that constantly.
You've probably seen him, right? The pleb reporter many times. So Peeair Oliver's evolution from pale nerd to jacked alpha male is beyond inspirational. Oh boy.
Little gay.
I like this. Peeair Poliver debuts a new look, and he is absolutely jacked. Time to bring home that female vote. Okay, number one. This says a lot about what you think about women. Number two, weren't you the same people just a few days ago were saying, oh, nobody votes for Trudeau except for his looks?
Yeah, it's okay when we say it.
It's like, okay, pleb reporter, homewrecker, he's married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Your little latent desire fantasies, thou shalt not covet. Okay? Christian.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, so hold on. There we go. We got this picture here of him being completely jacked, right? Boom, 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 right? I don't know if it is true, but a lot of people are suggesting that he is wearing a either a corset or one of those body things.
Shaping. Yeah.
Body.
I don't know.
Things under. I don't know. Now there is.
I also don't care.
I don't care either. I care in the sense that I don't like lack of authenticity.
Oh yeah,
because we had photoshopped Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
So there seems to be this obsession with wanting to look somewhat as virile.
It's because they've got plenty of pictures of Trudeau surfing in Tofino with his wetsuit peeled half off. The boxing pictures with Senator Patrick Brazeau in the ring, right? So they want to try and pump up Skippy to make him look like a macho dude. And I'm like, sorry, he's Milhouse. He'll only ever be Milhouse. He's been Milhouse his whole life.
And then we got this one here, and this pleb seems to be really obsessed with his looks and wants him real bad because Justin Trudeau is effeminate, scrawny, and aging. Pierre Poilievre is younger, stronger, and more fit. It's game over for Justin Trudeau. Okay. Number one, this kind of tweet is just an invitation for everybody to send you a tweet about the 3 things they think you are. Number one.
Yeah, that's pretty gay.
Dude. Right?
It's pretty gay.
I'm the gay one here, and I think this is weird.
You're not the only person to say that to me in the last 2 days. A lot of some of my friends here in town are like, dude, you gotta. I said, don't worry, we'll talk about it on Monday. It goes, because that's, and one of my buddies, he's very effete. Like there's no mistaking, right? You wouldn't, and he's like, oh, honey, that's even too gay for me.
Right? Where was all this stuff last month when we needed you?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
You picked the wrong month, people.
The boys is coming out to the closets today.
Better late than never, I guess. Welcome. Yeah. Taste the rainbow. Yeah. Drink from the hose.
The toaster oven will be shipped from Amazon.
It's just, oh my freaking God. And then, which of course, leads to the possibility of many, 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 many jokes. So, for example, along with the photo of PP being jacked one way, they also showed this one, of course, so that they can, I guess, show the bulging bicep, which some people are saying photocross
is Photoshop.
Yeah. Another people,
I don't know.
Another people are saying that the dog had to be paid. The dog's an actor and had to be paid to lick. Which made me think. So, are you saying that PP smells like the place where the dog most prefers to lick itself?
Tends to lick. The one I heard was immediately after the dog had to be taken to the vets for rabies shots, which I thought was kind of funny too. I'm not participating in that, but this is just something I read online, right?
Ah, shit. So, and then it seems because
that plebe guy really is obsessed with him being Jack, though, don't you think?
At least 3. I didn't go through the rest of the feed to see more. And then, of course, things like this started appearing.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You Poilievre haters can say what you want, but this untouched photo of Peeair released today by his campaign team clearly shows that he's PM material. With the Hans and Franz sort of bodybuilder top.
I am Hans, yes, Franz, and we have to pump you up.
You don't be such a girly man. We got to make you strong.
Strong, like Hans or Franz. Mugging for the camera.
Mugging for the camera. So yeah, I'm sorry, but when you need this much assistance, that's a lot of fluffing going on.
Well, this, I think, is Plebe trying to be what's his name? Who's that Australian guy who's completely in love with
Nick Adams?
Nick Adams, yeah. So the Plebe is trying to be the new Nick Adams, is he? Is he trying to be a Canadian
Nick Adams shtick? And then some Twitter person that goes by Camlin65 labeled PP as the spray tan cowboy, which of course, like a spray tan cowboy, boom, boom, riding in on a horse like a grifter from Ontario. I've had that in my head all day yesterday. Oh, PNC bio. Oh, my word. So much Jack.
That's good.
I wish Trudeau would stop shoving policy down my throat so deep. Oh, Mohan
That's good.
Alpha
That's a good
Pale.
one.
Oh, you kids are delightfully evil.
I don't know what the P316 thing is, Tim, though. Tim McCaffrey's got a comment on here saying, have you covered the P316 thing? I don't know what that is. I mean, there's a plunger, there's stuff that has to do with the BMW, but I can't find anything on it online. So please enlighten us. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And oh my.
That was good, PNC. That was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm a little I'm schwitzing a little bit there. I laughed hard on that one. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all.
No.
When you need that much help. And then of course, we've got
But they'll call me a Trudeau fanboy, of which I'm not, because I've never commented on the man's appearance
other than saying he's a
in my
good-looking
life, other than to say there's lots of pictures of him online.
and he's
right?
an objectively good-looking man. We've said it many times.
Oh yeah, he's a good-looking man. I've met him in
Yeah.
person. He's a good-looking man.
And then we have like this person going, "Wow, Peeair looks fabulous and obviously works out. He is the man." Some Angela Ansey. So I mean, clearly there's a campaign, right? Get this out. And I'm like, okay, time for what I call an objectivity test,
Okay.
Mr. Grizzly. If Peeir's jacked, now do the other guy. There's Trudeau weighing in for the boxing match. He's got a shirt off. There's him in the boxing. So clearly he works out too and exercises. Oh, and there's
that's a more
him.
recent photo.
Yeah. Oh, and there's him surfing. And there's him doing that yoga thing where he's standing on. Right. Let's do the other guy. I don't mean that way. He's a married man.
Well, so here's the other thing, though. I've not seen. I'm not saying it's not out there, right? I'm not saying it's not, but I mean, they're doing all this stuff to try and pump up Skippy. I'm not seeing anything from the other side of the aisle, if you will, doing the same for the Prime Minister.
No, don't need to.
Why is that?
Don't need to.
Well, I think maybe the height of objectification came when he did his hair tousle during the start of COVID, right? That was probably the height of the objectification of the Prime Minister, was that time.
I'm schwitzing again.
Well, it doesn't do it for me because, he has an Audi and I prefer innies. So
please. If he doesn't do it for anyone, you're not human.
Oh, no, he's a good-looking man. Good-looking man. But I'm not going to fawn over him like the plebe is. Plebe's telling on himself. Well, and hey, dude, that's fine. You've come to grips with your own sexuality. Good for you. Good for you. We'll support you.
Absolutely.
We're here to support you.
Absolutely. Now, other weird things were happening on the web yesterday. There were a lot of
really.
Oh yeah. There were a lot of calls for this one here in particular was really weird. Mr. Grizzly, you have some people putting out tweets like, "Where's those horses Trudeau sent out to trample Canadians when you need them?" While showing him talking to Liberal supporters in Calgary. Now, this person, Arlene Cham, if you click on her profile, describes herself as a follower of Jesus Christ.
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's unpack
they always
that.
Are.
Where are those horses Trudeau sent to trample Canadians? That never happened. So that's thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the 10 commandments. Those are sort of like the 10 big rules. So there's a violation there. Let's see. Sent to trample Canadians when you need them. So calling for injury or death to be brought upon people you other.
What a good Christian.
I believe that thou shalt not kill probably includes thou shalt not wish that people die by trampling by horses.
Mhm.
It's adjacent, if not abutting. I mean, yeah, you're not plunging the knife into the body yourself, but you're calling for it to happen, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Such a beautiful, no love like Christian hate, eh?
No love like Christian hate, or
Yeah.
no hate like Christian love. Either way.
Yeah. And then, also from the same damn account,
Just a sec here. Sorry, I just had something.
it's a photo of Mickey Mouse, pride colors on his shoes, with a Mickey Mouse chain with weights tied around its neck, thrown underwater. It would be better for them to be thrown into a sea with a millstone tied around their neck than to cause one of these little ones to stumble. Luke 17:2. Child groomers be warned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are against child trafficking, there's no need to include the gay symbol on Mickey Mouse's shoes there.
No. No, because 99.999. Yeah. And it's always, usually it's as of late, especially, it's either a sheriff, a police officer, a pastor, a youth, Christian youth, children's worker. Haven't seen anybody from the priesthood in a little while. I think maybe they've done a little bit of work there. But all I'm saying is it's never, ever who they accuse it of being. Not to say that it doesn't exist. It does. But it's 99% of the time, it's the other way around, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have something for you here from our friend from Dean from Winnipeg. I think you'll get a kick out of this. If Peeair Pulver slaps on any more makeup, he'll end up in a library reading books to kids.
Oh my word. That is brilliant. That is freaking brilliant. I love that. So far right that they become left again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, yeah. I'm I really don't know what to make of it. It's people are losing their goddamn minds. It's insane.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it is. It is a crazy town right now, right? It's crazy town.
We're just the most effed up timeline.
Well, and somebody might take umbrage with my terminology when I say crazy town, but I'm not referring to a group of people. I'm referring to everything that's going on in the world right now. I don't mean a single group of people or a single person. Everything that's going on in the world right now is just outrageous. It's just outrageous. It's like the world is on fire. Nobody's talking about it. We are,
People get.
but
We
very
have
little
an
mention.
incident at the University of Waterloo that the leader of the opposition
Nothing.
still has not spoken to.
No, hasn't addressed it. Why? Because that's one of Jordan Peterson's boys. Jordan Peterson,
Yeah.
I'm attaching his name to it only because of his stochastic terrorism.
Yeah.
I mean, it's his ideology that has spurred this on. The stuff that he tweets and says online, they canceled his YouTube, thank goodness, because that was nothing but hatred. I mean, he brought it upon himself. His cancellation has been brought upon himself by spewing hatred nonstop. And this result is a direct result of stochastic terrorism.
Yep.
It's when they urge on people and well, I didn't do it. I'm not responsible. No, you just groomed them. Using their words now. You groomed them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely it. Now, speaking of him, he seems to be, I don't know, having a bit of an issue these days.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a tweet from his. United Nations addressing climate change is a human rights issue and the world demands action now. And then Jordan Peterson, leave us alone, leave us alone, leave us alone.
Is he crying again? Not that there's anything wrong with crying. I'm just wondering. That's all. He sounds like he's pretty upset by that. It's like we should be concerned about climate change, right?
Yes, but like this is again a adult reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Ashley Beauty trending. Pierre Oliver.
13,000 tweets. Wow.
Oh my word. Oh my word. Oh my word. It's like the only response to leave us alone, leave us alone, leave us alone is no, go away. Want to be left alone? Isolate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We will not accommodate you. We will not accommodate you, Kermit.
That's what it boils down to.
We will not accommodate you. You want to be left alone? You remove yourself. Don't ask all of us to go away so you can be alone. You get the fuck out. You want to be alone? Go be alone.
For some reason, neither Jordan Peterson nor Pierre Oliver have blocked me on Twitter. And I've had plenty of things to say to them about how I feel about their behavior and the damage it does to our nation. But they haven't blocked me. But Rhiannon's got blocked. It's been a year. I'm like, way to go. That's you know you're getting to them when they block you, right? And sometimes I just block people because they're a nuisance.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't need the noise. But when they block you because you've presented a cogent argument to their statement, that's when you know you've won.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, jeez.
Let's lighten it up for a second here because we've been pretty heavy.
Yep.
This is a cruise ship that is set to sail in January of 2024. And I look at this and go, holy crap. Share the screen. There we go. It just took a minute.
Whoa.
Look at that thing. That's insane.
Damn. Damn.
And that's a glass bottom pool, by the way, in the middle of the deck right there. See, that's glass bottom pool. There's another pool. I think that's a surf pool up here. Water slide, water slide, water slide. I don't know what the heck that is. Multiple decks. Like, look at this. This is insane. And it talks about it. It says, the Icon of the Sea sets sail in January 2024, 5,610 passengers, 2,350 crew members, 5 times larger and heavier than the Titanic, 19 floors with more than 40 bars, restaurants, and bowling alleys. What a monstrosity.
Jeez.
That's mind-blowing to think we can make something that big that moves.
Right?
Like 19
right. Other news.
It's 5 times larger and heavier than the Titanic. The Titanic was big, but it's nothing compared to what we have today, right? But like, wow.
Oh, yeah. Wow. It looks like a cake someone made.
It does. I thought it was a Photoshop. They're like, no, it's real. It's a real thing. Like, holy crap.
I was on a cruise ship once 29 years ago. I actually had a wonderful time. It was a great experience. But nowadays, maybe not so much. Not so much. All right. A bit of actual news.
Okay.
And not just kvetching.
Okay. That's probably a good idea.
The Prime Minister is on his way to the NATO Summit. But before he gets there, he is meeting with Latvia's new president, Edgars Rinkēvičs, because in Latvia, we are heading a NATO mission that is helping with Russia, and we're basically the leads, coordinating something that has, like, I think 13 or 20 different countries participating, and we're the commanding force there. And we also have some Canadian forces members in Latvia that are there doing the training. So the Prime Minister is going to stop and visit them and visit the coordinators of that whole program that we are spearheading, or we have the lead on, before going to the event. Um, President Biden is also having some pre-meetings with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and also could be meeting King Charles to discuss climate change stuff, because he's a big proponent of that. And then they will be going to have their meeting where they are going to be talking about things such as Ukraine's membership to NATO, and Sweden's as well. Sweden's membership is being blocked by both Hungary
Right.
and Turkey because Turkey believes that Sweden is not doing enough to fight groups that they consider terrorists, groups that support the Kurds. But the other day in Sweden, there was a guy that burned a Quran on the steps of some building as well. And Sweden has a right-wing government at the moment. So I'm sure that didn't make Erdogan happy either. But apparently the regular legal process for that is taking place in Sweden for that part. There is going to be some butting of heads because the UK, for example, wants Ukraine's membership in NATO to be fast-tracked, whereas the United States doesn't seem to really want to consider admission until the war has ended. The other thing that's going on is that the US is agreeing to give Ukraine some cluster munitions. And
That's
if
controversial.
it is controversial because there's actually something called the Ottawa Treaty.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Lloyd
I
Axworthy,
remember that.
when he was Minister of Foreign Affairs, the cluster bombs thing. There's over 120 countries that have signed on to that treaty, including Canada and the UK, and I believe Japan. And so they really, 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 really don't want this to be happening. But the US says always, when it comes to all this military stuff or the International Criminal Court and all that kind of stuff, they never sign on to these things because,
No,
the
never.
US knows what they do, right? So, the US seems to be quite happy to, let's have these little cluster bombs and use them. Now, I will admit, there's the human part of me that says, you know what? Given what they did to Ukraine, they had it coming. Break out those cluster bombs. But they're cluster bombs.
Yeah. Well, the problem
we're
is
trying to get out of the habit of using them.
Well, the problem with cluster bombs is they don't always explode, so they can remain, like munitions that just lie there in a field, and then a child steps on them, or somebody's farming, and like landmines, exactly. You know that they're still finding unexploded munitions from World War I in the French countryside?
Yep.
Still.
Well, and also when that dam broke in the Crimea era.
Well, they blew it up. It didn't break, they blew it up.
But it all... Under all of that, turns out that they found historical ruins, I guess.
Well, there was towns that were flooded.
Yeah, but when the water started to recede and the damage like this, turns out that there was evidence of the time when Cossacks.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about Cossacks were living there and whatnot, and and now they want to try to rebuild the dam in some way, but now you have some historical stuff that's there that proves Ukrainian culture.
Right.
Whereas Russia's going, there is no Ukrainian culture. There's just Russian culture, and Ukrainians are Russians, right?
Except that Kyiv was a city for 1,000 years before anybody ever set foot in what is now Moscow. 1,000 years.
And the other thing that happened is that with the water, because water moves stuff, a whole bunch of landmines just got
suddenly
moved from where they were to a whole bunch of different places now.
Yeah.
So, that's what's going on over there. It's going to be it's going to be an eventful meeting. It's expected that the prime minister will probably be chastised because there is still no 2% of our GDP spent on defense and no plan to get there. However, the traditional Canadian line is that whenever it comes to missions. We contribute far above our weight, and we do
Yes.
other things. And the prime minister is wanting to go there and say, okay, well, if you're going to push me on the 2%, then we need to include in the calculation spending on space, cyber defense, and artificial intelligence research.
Mm-hmm.
Because we do enough of that for a city, for a
Well,
country our size.
And you can take it under my word because I've done work. There is a Canadian Space Command in the Canadian military. There's a division, Space Command. I've done work there. I've done work for them. It's not a secret. It's just not widely advertised.
Yep.
So the military is involved with Space Command. Well, Canadian Space Command in the CAF, Canadian Armed Forces.
There you go. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I worked briefly for the Canadian Space Agency, but that was like...
That's a civilian thing. That's completely different. That's nothing to do with the military.
Yep, exactly. So that's going on. So that will probably be the biggest source of international news over the next few days there. Let's see, what else have I got for you here? Some good news. Good news. Canadian athlete Michael Woods, who's a cyclist, became the third Canadian ever to win a stage at the Tour de France.
It's stage 9, was it?
Stage 9. It was a climbing stage where they were going to the summit of a volcano. It seems that with about 2 kilometers to go, he was 2 minutes behind not only the leader of that day, but the leader of the entire Tour de France at the moment, Matteo Jorgensen, and passed him with 500 meters left to win. He's only the third Canadian. Hugo Hull won a stage just last year, and he had become the first since Steve Bauer. There's a name we haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Did it back in 1988. I remember having a bike when I was a kid that had Steve Bauer's signature on it.
1988, eh? Wow.
Yeah, really.
A couple of weeks ago.
Michael Woods, it's not a surprise for Michael Woods that this would happen because he finished 5th at the last Olympics in the 234-kilometer road race last time. So, I mean, he's very good cyclist. So, yeah, congratulations, because, I mean, winning the whole Tour de France is a huge thing. But, I mean, just winning a stage. I mean, there are like 150 people racing, right? So, it's not like, it's like, oh yeah, there's 8 people in the final, like this. And, oh, well, you finished third, and you had to go through all the preliminary rounds, but like, this is like a pack, like the peloton, right? 150. So it's like on any given day, any person could win, right?
Oh, yes.
So I guess, and there are not 150 stages.
No.
So it's not like everybody could win a stage. There's enough stages for everyone to go around. So
you get a stage, and you get a stage, and you get a stage. There are no losers here. Everybody gets a stage.
So, that's really quite an achievement. So, congratulations to you, Mr. Woods, and our friend Devin Haru.
Ottawa boy,
yeah, and our friend Devin Haru is on his way to Japan now for the World Aquatics Championships that should be starting soon. So we're going to hear lots of stories of Canadians making us proud very, very soon.
And the Women's World Cup starts on July 20th.
Exactly. Yes, starts. So the team is the roster has been officially announced, and it includes Christine Sinclair, of course, who's returning for the 6th time, and of course playing for the first time an 18-year-old named Olivia Smith, who we might be hearing more about over the next few years. They are playing in Australia and New Zealand, and Canada is playing in what is called the Group of Death. But it turns out it's being called the Group of Death because Canada is in it.
Yes. Yeah, because they're the strongest. They're the strongest side in that one. I think Canada's ranked 5th right now overall.
I think so. Yeah. Last time I had checked, they were ranked 7th, but they may have gone up a couple of spots until the.
And the Americans are not expected to win the tournament either.
No.
For the first time ever, they're not expected to win it.
Yeah. Indeed. So yeah, congratulations to them, and we hope that everything goes well. And at Wimbledon, there's been a lot of success, and then just
well, I was reading a thing in the New York Times about how they're saying maybe they need to start using the Hawkeye for Bianca Andreescu because she lost a match based on a call missed by the umpire or the line judge, I guess.
Yeah.
So she didn't, and she chose not to. She could have protested and insisted that they do it, but she didn't do that. I guess she probably felt that she didn't have it that day. I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Speculating.
she did. It was a very, 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 very close and great match. Bianca Andreescu made it to the third round for the first time in Wimbledon, but in the third round, she was facing Ons Jabeur, who's number 6 in the world,
Right.
and was finalist last year. It was a very close match. It was Andreescu won the first set 6-3, lost the second one 6-3, and it went 6-4 in the third one. I'm guessing that's when that thing probably happened, somewhere in the third set. So no, it was a very, very, very competitive match.
Well, all the Canadians are out now. Eh?
In singles, all the Canadians are out. Leylah Fernandez also played an absolutely incredible match against Caroline Garcia, but Caroline Garcia is also number 5 in the world. Third set went to a tiebreak. Fernandez lost 10-6. Fernandez is ranked 85 in the world. Unfortunately, also, Leilani Fernandez was playing in doubles in the second round, also against Caroline Garcia.
Well, you play against somebody who's better than you, you just get better. Your game gets better.
Yes, but it's really, really weird to draw the same person second round.
Singles and doubles,
And singles and doubles. Yeah. Gabriela Dabrowski had a terrible tournament, lost in the first round in doubles, and I think first round mixed doubles as well. Bianca Andreescu, for some reason, pulled out of the mixed doubles tournament with Michael Venus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they got to the final at the French Open. But after she lost, she pulled out. The team pulled out. Now, I don't know if she's the one that was injured or Michael Venus is the one that's injured and she couldn't play, but she seemed to be fine when she was playing against Ons Jabeur. Denis Shapovalov, who has been having a really bad year, got to the fourth round.
Yeah, he was doing well in this tournament.
He was doing well, yeah. Lost against a guy named Safiullin, who he shouldn't have lost against, because Shapovalov is really higher ranked, but he's been like that.
Just having a rough year.
Just one day it goes. But for some reason, at the last 2 Grand Slams, even though he seems not be able to get out of the first round or second round of any other regular tournament throughout the entire clay season, for some reason at the French Open he got to the third round, and at Wimbledon he got to the fourth. So it seems that he's a big game player.
Is there prize money for each round?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured. There'd have to be, otherwise why would you even go?
And ranking points.
Yeah.
Too, right. Which matters. So, but I mean, all these players, Leilani Fernandez, Bianca Andreescu, and Denis Shapovalov have all improved their rankings as a result. So, I mean, it was a good tournament.
Yeah.
But they just had, other than Shapovalov, they had terrible draws. Terrible draws.
What's the Canadian
really,
Open?
really draws.
Canadian Open's coming up next, isn't it?
No, there's a couple of other things first, but the Canadian Open will be in early August.
It's August, yeah.
Yeah, it's early August. But it will be the next 1,000, the next big one.
Right.
But Grand Slams are 2,500, and then there's 1,500, 250, and then they go down. But the thing with the Grand Slams too is that a lot of people don't know is that they're not organized by the ATP or WTA, the tours. There's something called the International Tennis Federation. They organize, they do all the junior stuff whatnot, but they organize the Grand Slams and the Olympic tournament. So sometimes there are slightly different rules. But the WTA and the ATP do include the ITF events for rankings in their rankings, but they have no control over them whatsoever. They're completely different organizations.
Something I learned.
So the only person left in the draw in the open event, not the junior event, is Leilani Fernandez in mixed doubles, playing with a guy whose last name is Koolhof. I can't remember his first name, who's again a doubles champion. So that's about the only one left where people are Canadians are entered, and there's a possibility of going far because they're both she's Leylah and Annie Fernandez is now closing in, if not one of the top 10 doubles players in the world. She's getting there. Like this, her and her partner are one of the top 10, 5 doubles teams in the world.
Very
and
young.
Is one of the 5 as well. Yeah. So, I mean, them together have the potential. They're playing together for the first time, but as we saw at the French Open, Bianca Andreescu and Michael Venus played together for the first time. They got all the way to the final in mixed
Yeah.
doubles. That's the
So-
tournament where anything can happen. So you never know. There might be some hardware coming out of it yet, but it looked really, really good about like 3-4 days ago that we would have lots of Canadians in singles in the second week, and nope, just didn't happen. But still, overall good performances from our tennis players, and yeah, we should be proud. But like I said, we will have lots to cheer about in the coming weeks with swimming, diving, artistic swimming, and water polo as all our athletes, because the World Championships, it's all for aquatic sports, right? It's not just swimming. So, and diving. Sorry, diving.
Diving.
Did I forget diving? Maybe I said it. I don't know.
No, that's the men's. That's the men's World Cup.
What?
Football. Men's World Cup is diving. Especially for like Team Spain and Team Italy. Took you a minute. I don't know. It took you a minute.
Oh. Since we talked about the NATO summit, the other side of the Ukraine thing, it seems that well, first of all, the war in Ukraine has passed the 500-day mark on Saturday.
Mhm.
Following the Wagner sort of mutiny, tiny mutiny,
Was
the
it
kind
that?
of sort of mutiny. Well, it seems that the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, who said that negotiated the deal and said that Prigozhin should be coming to Belarus, announced a couple of days after Prigozhin was supposed to be in Belarus that he was not in Belarus. And that he was probably in Moscow or in St. Petersburg. So that probably made Vladolf Putler's ears prick up and said, oh boy, we need to do something, because if he's not in Belarus anymore, he could pop up anywhere, anytime, because Prigozhin now has the element of surprise factor, right? If nobody knows where he is and where he's going to pop up and what he's going to do. So he has been putting together a unit. He has been taking his equivalent of the US DEA
Mhm.
unit and has put some people into his National Guard. Now you're thinking, well, why would drug enforcement
Mhm.
people be in the National Guard? I mean, it's like they don't have a military training. No. But as both the fifth column points out, they are very good at undercover.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this is not a combat unit. This is a purge unit.
Mhm. Interesting.
Putler's scared.
Yeah. Oh, that's a given. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but he's
that's a given.
taking these people from the DEA to send them undercover within his own political system to uncover what I'm sure he will call traitors.
Of course.
So yeah, the Wagner mutiny had a very negative effect on the ruble as well. It appears, this is also according to both the fifth column, that the comfortable trading range for the ruble is about 80 to 90 to the dollar,
Mhm.
and that greater than 90 will start to cause some to worry. Because unlike us, like for example, we look at our dollar and we just say, okay, this is how much we get in the United States, right?
Mhm.
We tend to look at GDP and stuff like that. In Russia, the value of the ruble is a major economic indicator for them. And it seems that the ruble this year is one of the worst performing, if not the worst performing currency in the globe.
Not a
It's
big
lost,
surprise.
yeah, it's lost 21% of its value this year alone, and it is trading above the 90 to the dollar, which is what makes people panic now.
Mhm.
It is now at a 15th-month low, and even if you factored out the immediate drop in the ruble following
Right.
the invasion immediately, it's still at a 5-year low.
Oh, okay.
So basically, in American currency, a ruble is worth more than a penny, but not quite 2 cents.
Wow.
The Russian government is using what they call currency controls, which is a Kellyanne Conway-esque alternative facts, FAKTS, term for saying they're having fun with numbers.
Yeah.
So their objective is to maintain the value of the currency, to thus create the impression that the sanctions are not biting, and then, well, the rest will go, oh, gee, well, we tried these sanctions for 2 years. I guess no, we're not working, so I guess we'll give up on them and let them have. Yeah, don't work that way, honey.
Yeah.
It don't work that way, honey. But that's the hope, right? well, the sanctions are not being effective, so I guess we'll just abandon them now. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's suspected that Putin will be able to maintain this facade for about another year before the bottom starts to fall out hard and fast. And if at that time he should decide to try and keep on pumping up the ruble, whatever reserves he may have that nobody knows about will be depleted rather quickly.
Yeah. Well, he again, he thought he was going to be in and out of Ukraine in a week.
Yeah. With consequences that will be rather disastrous to the entire Russian people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which could lead to another incident of, no, Mr. Putin's just sleeping. Let him rest.
Stalin-esque.
And Swan Lake being played on state TV. Because usually that's what happens, right? Yeah. So,
well, he's taken his country down because he's lost his mind.
But he's getting to a point now where he's going to have to make a decision financially to either fish or cut bait. Because if this trend continues, see, the thing is China is becoming his best friend, but China is not particularly supportive of the war.
No, they aren't.
They would rather it not be happening. So now Iran is quite happy that the war's happening. They're like helping Russia build drones. But I'm not sure that China might be willing to give Russia the financial backing it needs to pursue beyond that date. And if China is, then it really is a strategy of making Russia a vassal state.
China's got its own money problems right now with the Evergrande bankruptcy, which is what, $950 billion? So almost $1 trillion in bankruptcy for a real estate speculator.
Yeah.
That's not good. And their population is shrinking too, by the way.
Yes, the population is starting to shrink. Officially.
Yeah. They've admitted it.
Yeah. So there's going to be a moment where Putin's going to have to decide how much more money he wants to put into this.
At some point, he'll probably back out, but who knows? He may fall out of a window accidentally. It happens a lot in Russia, it seems. People are always falling out of windows there.
Yeah.
Downstairs
or.
Yeah, if I was in Russia, I'd stay on the ground floor of every house I go to.
Yeah, Russia. I don't know. There seem to be particularly clumsy people.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's the vodka.
You never know.
Maybe
Too much borscht?
Maybe. I
don't know. Just but all of a sudden, whoops! Oh, sorry, something happened.
So, have you heard that Twitter's advertisers have been dropping off like flies?
Yes. Yes.
Might have something to do with this. I mean, this is really. I can't imagine why this platform is having a hard time attracting advertisers. Suck as a cock. I propose a literal dick measuring contest.
That's the thing I was talking about earlier.
This is the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City, and he owns Twitter. Dude, you're going to tank all your companies when you behave like that. It's just
kids and kitties, the moment we've all been waiting for is here. It's the great micropeen measuring contest of 2023. Will anybody hit 1 inch? Stay tuned.
It's like, I'm sorry, man. It's like, again, as the gay guy who's finding this way too gay, I'm only buying a ticket to a dick measuring contest if there's actually something to see.
Well,
I'm just saying. Jeez, these people. Holy crap. Stateside. It took 3 times. But Trump's valet, Walt Nauda, finally was able to enter a plea of not guilty to 6 charges of obstruction and lying to federal investigators. And it seems Walt Nauda is accused of moving boxes to keep 45's lawyers from finding them. after those boxes had been subpoenaed by a grand jury. The U.S. government says that they have surveillance videos of Nauda moving 64 boxes out of a certain place prior to the FBI search, and that not all of them came back. And of the ones that were missing, Walt Nauda said that, I have no idea where they are.
Oh.
I have no idea where they went to. They just sort of disappeared. Well, it turns out that the FBI had videos of the boxes moving and being moved and had them on camera before they even asked the question.
Wow.
We've just found out. And those, that questioning, whatnot, that's what provoked the search of June 2nd. Yeah, they had you on camera and they knew all about this way before they asked you, and then you lied. And it seems that Walt Nauda's friend, the guy who was asking about the security footage in the security room and where that's held and where that's stored. Well, it turns out that the thing with the pool, I got it kind of wrong when I turned out, but it seems that he was the pool boy or something. And it's not that he was filling the pool, it's that suddenly the pool needed to be drained.
Huh?
And it somehow got drained into the security footage room somehow.
Mhm. How convenient.
Now, apparently this guy is not yet facing charges, so cooperating witness?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Did you?
But this Walt Nauda guy, the guy who basically answers every time that Donald Trump presses the Diet Coke button, basically is being loyal to Trump. And I don't know if that's because he needs help with his legal fees. But
Trump isn't going to pay them.
Well, everybody's saying that's the PAC that's sort of paying something like this. But if the PAC is paying it for it, it seems that maybe not, because word on the street is that Nauda has got some type of public defender. Because wasn't able to find anyone, so he had to have somebody appointed.
You can't afford one.
Yeah.
Speaking of appointed lawyers.
Hold on, not done. But
keep going. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. So it seems that the prosecutors knew about the shenanigans prior to the search. And it seems that Trump's troubles are not over, because it appears that in addition to placing a perfect phone call to the Secretary of State of Georgia asking him to find one more vote than he needs, it seems that he did that in Arizona too.
I haven't heard that call.
Oops. Yeah. So now we have a pattern of behavior, not just a one-off. And would anybody be surprised if it happened in any of those other states where he had those electors? And meanwhile, we have some of Trump's rivals taking shots. We have DeSantis, who's playing to the right of Trump again, putting out that video. But he's basically calling out Trump as not being mean enough to the gays. Identified Donald Trump as really being a pioneer. Actually, this is his quote. Identifying Donald Trump as really being a pioneer in injecting gender ideology into the mainstream when he was having men competing against women in his beauty pageants. It's true. In the Miss Universe pageant, once there was someone who was transgender who applied to compete, because at the Miss Universe pageant decided that yes, they would allow them to compete. So now DeSantis is using that. And also taking that little clip there where Donald Trump says, I will protect our LGBTQ. I think he probably had to write it somewhere to remember the letters in the order. Person, woman, man, camera. Wow, nobody's ever done that before. Remembered 5 random words. And recited them again. You have an incredible brain. So yeah, he's apparently using that against him. Funny thing, people are also losing their minds because this past weekend there was the Miss Netherlands contest and a transgender person won.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so some people are going, all these people, all you women, you can't do that anymore like this. When you see that there's a transgender person like this, you have to like all stop and not compete. Just let them compete alone. Let them race alone. Like, oh yeah, that'll really teach them. Let all the transgender people just have all the spots in the races and win all the medals. And let's now that all the women are not competing against anything because transgender person are there, I guess they're able to be barefoot in the sandwich, barefoot in the kitchen to bring you a sandwich on
Mhm,
demand,
mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. I mean,
Mm.
really.
If they're going to let these transgender people go, well, women, you should take a stand and not compete anymore for anything. Just like go back home.
That's
It's
called
over.
a coded message, right? Kind of
Mhm.
like their protecting pregnant women law that they wanted to have.
Mhm. Mhm. And then you have Mike Pence, who, you know what? I am going to go out on a limb here and say, watch out for this guy.
You think?
Yeah. He is, he's a snake.
Oh yeah.
He's quite a snake, but he's picking a lane for himself that everybody's laughing at him because the way he's doing, but I'm a strategist. I'm watching the long game.
hmm
Um, he was in Iowa. He's doing this thing where he's looking at going to all 99 regions in Iowa, talking to people one on one. And Iowa is a very, very white, very, very, very Christian.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's the first one, right? So, if you can do well in Iowa, then the news media starts taking over. And so, oh wow, look at Pence. Nobody thought that would work for him. Look at him. We're talking, and then that's kind of starts. The thing with Pence is that he's got this thing going on. Now, of course, everything goes, well, why didn't you say anything while you were there? But, right, it's like no man should ask someone to override the Constitution, and any man who does should not be president. We had this other, and he was at this event in Iowa, and he's saying, we've got this woman going like, you had the power to do that, and you didn't. And it's sort of like, President Trump was wrong about my authority that day, and he's still wrong. There can be no room in the leadership of the Republican Party for apologists for Putin. There can only be room for champions for freedom. So, but you see what he's doing,
hmm
and you know
hmm
how Mike Pence talks, right? With
Oh
that
yes.
calm and sort of like, it's like, I am the world's best Christian, and I'm the most patriotic, and I'm going to take the most horrible things, but because I say them like this, and I look at you like this,
It's the
make them
delivery.
sound incredibly reasonable. But he's putting himself as the guy who stood up for the Constitution,
hmm
who stood, and who will stand up to dictators and will do the things.
I think he's just going to slide in and under the door when nobody
Well, here's the
notices.
thing. Because you got Christie, on the other hand,
hmm
who has no fucks left to give.
Oh, none, zero. You don't
Right?
get it, man.
Like this, Donald Trump went again and made a fat joke again, Christie, and Christie sitting there was like, oh, like he's a prize?
Yeah.
Like he's a paragon of masculinity and health? It's like I've struggled all my life with my weight, like many of Americans like this, and he
Mhm.
thinks that he can make fun of, like so. They're picking out lanes and they're finding things, and I bet you that there are tons of people that say that Christie doesn't have a hope and chance in hell to win, but I bet you that there's some people pumping money into his campaign to keep him in the campaign as
Oh,
long
yeah.
as possible because he's doing the job that nobody else will do.
And I think that's largely what the case is. I don't even think he really cares if he wins. I think it's
Oh no,
like
I don't
this.
think he is. I think he
Let's
just wants
just
to
take
take
this
it down.
man down.
Take the bitch down, right?
Yeah.
So, so you got that going on, and you've got these guys here, and they're all hoping that if he does get convicted and go to jail or something like that, which is probably not going to happen before the election because he's going to be able to stretch things out in certain ways, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a long game, and if Trump, for any reason, will be taken out of the contest, then Pence is setting himself up to be the virtuous. Now, of course, he doesn't talk about the fact that when he says he's going to stand up to dictators, that he was right by Trump's side for 4 years as he was cupping Putin's nuts and trying to rub up against Kim Jong-un. Talking about those perfect love letters.
Perfect.
But now he'll stand up to dictators. He didn't for the whole year of the campaign. Well, basically the 2 years of
He's Putin's
pre-campaign
puppet
and the
anyway.
4 years as president, 4 years when he was vice president, and the year and something since until now. But now you can trust that he'll stand up to Putin. Yeah,
He's Putin's puppet. That's all
because
he's
there's a
ever
track
been.
record. There's a track record of that. But just he's not as dumb as he's looking.
Mm-hmm.
Is all I'm saying. Because that lady said, turn around and says, well, they asked her afterwards, it's like, would you consider voting for him? Says, well, if he's yeah, but he's still got that thing. Right. So she's still convinced that he could have taken that, but not so convinced that she wouldn't vote for him
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Yeah, it's troubling. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's a weird timeline.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
But it gives you that sense of, once you've invested yourself into a narrative and you've held on to it,
Yeah,
right? When we're watching these people, it's like, it's so obvious that's a lie. Why are they still believing?
Because they want to.
Well, also it costs so much, not money, the other costs,
Mm-hmm.
to say, I was had.
And I've seen a few people
I was
recently. I watched Jake's your old pal Jake's show the other night, and he had a clip of a woman on CNN. Did you see that?
I didn't say I saw the gentleman. He had
Yeah.
a clip of a gentleman that was former military who said the same. It was just like, no, you can't do it. Like, I was all in, but no.
Yeah, they're like, we've been used, we were in a cult. This woman did 18 months or something like that, or 6 months or whatever. I don't know. She did jail time though for storming the Capitol. She was part of January 6th, and she's like, I was used. I was in a cult. I believed it. I believed it was a steal. And she says, I realize now that none of that was true. I was brainwashed. And people are coming to their senses. And I think in many cases, in every, let me rephrase that. In every case I've seen of somebody coming to their senses and saying, I was brainwashed, I was in a cult, they seem to be a lot more content and happy because they've released the anger. They've let the anger go. And it was the ginned up anger, the rage farming, the overall rage of it all that has destroyed lives. Because anger's an energy, but it's a negative energy. I mean, sometimes it's necessary, right?
Yeah.
But these people are angry all the goddamn time. And that does terrible things to the human psyche. It's not natural to be like that all the time. It's detrimental to your physical and mental well-being. And people are discovering this as they slowly come to the realization that, well, now that their eyes are opened up, they're coming to the realization that they were used. They were pawns in Trump's game.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a damn about them. He never did. Never did.
Never did. Not at all.
He's only ever cared about himself. That's it. Oh, and dating his daughter.
Now, Trump is not having any trouble raising any money. His combined PAC and campaign fundraising for the second quarter was $35 million, which is up from $18 million in the first quarter.
Wow.
DeSantis picked up $20 million in the second quarter, so he's still $15 million behind Trump, and says that he's accumulated $130 million since launching in March. So the money's still rolling in, unfortunately. Back home in Canada, this is not fun news. The government of Manitoba has decided that it will not do a search of the Prairie Grand landfill to find the bodies of two Indigenous women who are assumed to have been murdered and dumped there. They claim that the basis for it is how long, expensive, and dangerous it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Premier Heather Stephenson is saying this is about the safety of those individuals who would be conducting the search. I mean, the landfill is full of toxic waste. The province says that it's committed to funding a memorial and to preventing violence against Indigenous women and girls, and that they'll be providing supports and stuff. But, well, it's been 13 months since the remains have been dumped there. And the people would like to have the bodies found.
Mm-hmm.
The best support that they can get is that someone would find the bodies, because they're in a landfill and they're not trash. They are not trash.
Human beings.
Winnipeg Police Chief Danny Smith said that more than 10,000 truckloads of waste had been added to the landfill since. Says the circumstances combined with the safety hazard formed the basis of a difficult decision not to go forward. The federal government paid for the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs to conduct a feasibility study, and they concluded that a search could take up to 3 years, cost greater than $184 million, with no guarantee of success, as well as there being health and environmental and safety risks. But Chief Carol Wilson of the Long Plain First Nation, which is the community from which two of the victims, I guess is the word, Mercedes Myron and Morgan Harris, hailed. She said, "I believe this is an excuse. I don't know if I can say a strong statement where they don't. I don't know if I can say a strong statement where they don't care, but that's what it feels like right now." Now, for comparison, people are talking about the Robert Pickton investigation in British Columbia, which took 9 years and cost $70 million to find people. First-degree murder charges have been laid against a man for the May 22 murders of Myron Harris and two other Indigenous women, I believe Rachel Comtois, and a fourth person who is unnamed but is known as Buffalo Woman. Heather Stephenson says when they offered support, what we want to do is make sure that we are there with the resources that they need to help them heal. But this is a situation where you're, like I said, you're giving people everything except for what it is they've asked for. Crown and Indigenous Relations Minister Mark Miller hasn't promised funding, but has expressed support, questioning what message not searching would send, saying, "What signal do you send if you don't search for First Nations body?" Ottawa is still looking at the proposal, Miller said in May, and said that the search would involve a lot of money, but he hasn't ruled out funding for it yet. Grand Chief Kathy Marks, her response to this is, "Well, it's bullshit. It seems to be acceptable to the governments that we can be found in landfills." The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs is saying that yes, it will be difficult, and yes, there are risks, but there are ways to mitigate these risks, and we should not spare the expense, and we should go and look for them. I can see both sides, but they're not trash. It just seems that if we're talking about reconciliation, we're talking, this is the cost of it. This is the price of it. This is what it costs.
We have to pay the price.
Now, there's been a blockade since Thursday afternoon at the landfill when the Manitoba government announced it would not support the search of the privately owned landfill. Winnipeg's chief administrator has ordered the protesters to leave by today at noon because the blockades risk the health and safety of the people of Winnipeg as well as the users of the landfill facility. This all started when police found partial remains of Rebecca Comtois, that's her name, in June at the landfill.
Right.
People have been protesting for over 7 months in anger over how the Winnipeg police have investigated the case. The protesters said that they would comply with the order to stop the blockade before the deadline. and that their plan was to send a message to the premier that the province's inaction undermines its efforts towards reconciliation. And that's why I'm saying it's the price.
It is. It's the price we have to pay.
It's the price. You can make all the arguments about it being unsafe and having risks and whatnot, and all these things are probably true. And with 10 extra thousand dump loads, the chances of finding them probably are. But you
Very
gotta
good.
try.
Well, you got at least put in some effort. Come on, man. Like,
You can't just send the message. It's like, yeah, okay, just dump them in landfills and
let's
well.
roll. Yeah, let's roll
Again,
on.
people need a place to go and commemorate and remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who wants to go to a landfill
Nobody.
to spend quiet moments with their departed loved ones?
Nobody wants to do that. No one. That's why we have cemeteries where you can have a quiet, peaceful moment with a loved one, or an urn, or it's.
Yeah, Tavi G, no
They're-
problem looking for the millionaires at the Titanic, though.
Yeah.
I just,
And how much money did we spend on that? I think $24 million.
Yeah.
Just Canadian efforts was $24 million.
yeah. Well, see, Saucy, would it be smart political wise for Trudeau to order federal search of the landfill if that's possible? Yeah, it would.
Mm-hmm.
It would, and that's why the federal government is thinking. I guess they were waiting to see if the provinces would do their duty. Now the decision comes to the federal government whether or not they want to support that, do that, because they haven't promised money yet. But like I said, they haven't shut the door.
Oh, it's 2.4 million is what we spent on this.
Oh, is it 2.4 now?
I thought it was 24 million. Yeah, either way.
Yeah. So, I personally don't see a way around it.
No, I think it just needs to be done.
Yeah, it just needs to be done. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir. I just want to put one quick link in the chat here if anybody's interested. I'm not going to dive into it. It's about RFK Jr. and what he wants to do. He claims vaccine research is likely responsible for HIV and the Spanish flu. This guy's a whack job. And he wants to be president.
Do another push-up.
Yeah, he's out of his mind. I'm not giving him any more airtime other than that clickable link in the chat. That's it. That's all I got to say about it. Go ahead and read it. I don't want to give him any more air. It's enough oxygen for him, if you ask me.
Crap.
The guy has serious issues.
Yeah. All right. Oh, man. Kits, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. And to the kids who sent nice messages all weekend long, thank you. Thank you. And also, just to end it on a good note, while that incident happened that day, the very next day, on the exact same street as I'm walking home, there was a wonderful, beautiful, inside and out black lady who was walking on the street and said hello to me. And I smiled and said hello back. And she stopped and says, "You have a really beautiful smile."
That's
Whoever you are,
soul, huh?
thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea how I needed that day. Two completely different experiences interacting with people walking down the same street in 24 hours. And again, last night, something like that happened too. We were walking on the street and we saw a bike that was like locked but was on the ground. So we picked it up, and then some homeless person started yelling at us, "Don't touch my friend's bike," like this. Clearly not her friend's bike. But then she took it and then she put it back down on the ground. So, and again, normally that wouldn't bother me, but it was like after the day before, it's like, really, twice in 3 days, just getting yelled at, like, fuck. And we didn't say anything to her because we knew that. Yes, and then about a minute walking away, some guy was getting into his car and said, "Guys, I saw what you guys did. You guys were doing the right thing. I was just like, right? It's just like these two. This time it was within minutes and not within 24 hours. But it's like, but we were walking down the street and I was just like, fuck, man, no good deed goes unpunished, eh? And then someone came out. So whatever the universe is doing, right, that to actually make sure that we get a little salve for the cut.
Well,
Thank you. I'm paying attention and I'm noticing. Okay. So whatever you're doing, universe, I'm aware. Thank you. Because, man, I cannot be yelled at one more time this week. I've hit my limit. I've hit my limit. If you, because democracy is something that you do, please write to your MPs. If you'd like to write how you're upset that they seem to be exploiting the gay community and the trans community, and it's creating situations where people that you know and care about are being unsafe, I'm not going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are greatly appreciated. We love them when you leave them. We love to hear from you. Reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And we've gotten 2 lovely letters recently. I was planning to read them today, but we've gone long, so I will save them for another episode. But thank you. We've read them, and we are very, very touched. Thank you. You can subscribe to us via our pod page. That's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of them. And that will bring you to a place where you can subscribe to us and have us come to you when we have something fresh off the bandwidth. And if you are listening to us on our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel, well, please make like Kit Elaine and smash those buttons, the like and the subscribe. That helps us out big time. And Kit Elaine, I don't know if you heard it on the past episode, but we were wondering if you might be interested in, with your voice, doing a recorded message inviting Kits to smash those buttons that we could play.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We like to include our kids in the show. Why not? So yeah, please subscribe. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, if you are watching, scan the QR code that Mr. Grizzly will put up close to his head, and that will bring you to our emergency coffee, hot chocolate, Caesar, and Guinness fund. And if you are listening, you can let your fingers do the walking or your voice command do the work for you at ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word, and you can make your donation there. I would really, 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 really be grateful if you did. And I'm sure Mr. Grizzly would be as well. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And before you give your words of wisdom, Mr. Grizzly, mine are report every damn time.
Mm-hmm.
If not for you, for the next person.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. Report. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom?
Yes, I do. And a little bit of joy at the same time.
Oh, please, thank you.
We tried to line up an interview a few weeks ago with my buddy Super Kyle, and we couldn't. Things just didn't work out. But we'll get something soon. But Super Kyle has an organization called No Such Thing as Can't. Kyle has spina bifida, an MS, and he struggles. But you'll never meet a more positive human being in your life. He's just an incredible person. That's why we call him Super Kyle. So he was at the Billy Talent Weezer show on Friday night. And here is Super Kyle in his No Such Thing as Can't t-shirt, crowd surfing in his wheelchair. He's a badass. He's a badass. And again,
look at that smile.
He's the happiest, most cheerful, joyful person you'll ever meet in your life. And he's not had an easy life. when he was young, he was trying to do something, and he'd say, "Mom, I can't." And she said, "Kyle, there's no such thing as can't." She used to say that to him all the time. So he started an organization, No Such Thing as Can't. And the organization is about creating steps to improve accessibility for those of us who have mobility devices. Believe it or not, this thing on my face, these glasses, it's a mobility device. A different mobility device than the one Kyle wheels around in, but he also wears glasses. I can't drive without glasses. It's a mobility device. The day may come where I may need a cane or a walker. Mobility devices. So let's make the world more accessible for those of us amongst us in this community that require the usage of those things. When you level that playing field, they can contribute just as much as you or I. When you make it so that somebody has access to the same things you and I do, they can be, I mean, and everybody I know still wants to contribute to society. So let's make it accessible. And that's my thought for the day, I guess.
That's a wonderful thought. I really like
Thanks.
it. Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits. Good one. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. The music didn't speed up. I was able to dance.
Sped up for
or slow
me.
down. Oh no! At this end, it was great. Programming note, Mr. Grizzly, and I'm dropping this on you. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, we might have to do some pre-records.
Oh, okay.
So some
Well,
pre-records.
we might have to do a couple anyway, because Thursday I'm heading out of town. I'm gonna bring a road kit with me so I can broadcast from the road, but some areas I don't know what my internet connection is going to be like, right? So because I'm taking a road trip down to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland, so I'm going to stop along the way and say hi to some people, and we might have to do some recording between now and then. So I've got lots of time between now and Thursday, but as of Thursday, it's going to be limited time for me. So I'm bringing everything with me. I'm going to record some stuff on the road to put together for a highlight reel, if you will. But I don't know if I can do as many shows live or not. Just dependent upon situations, right? You know.
Yeah. My Beaver Sweetie and I are going to visit family because it's my nephew's birthday, and we're going to do a couple of days in camping on the way back. So, this week we'll record something probably for Monday and Tuesday. So those shows won't be live next week, kids, and then we'll see for the rest. But we will have something for you.
Yeah,
so
we'll have content. Don't worry about that. There's always going to be content. And I know most people prefer the live shows, that especially those who tune in the morning. Thank you, and tune in, surf in, I guess, click in. Surf in,
click in. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We do appreciate it. We really, really do. But unfortunately, sometimes circumstances and scheduling doesn't allow us to be live. And this is one of those times. And it's summertime. I got to take a break too.
And I don't think we've taken a break since we started.
No.
So
we've taken no time off. And I'm tired, so it's we'll record some stuff for Monday, Tuesday. We might have to do something for Thursday, Friday. I'll see how it goes. It all depends. I might be able to do something Thursday morning before I depart, and then Friday will be up in the air for the time being. I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, I've got the time too. So if
okay, well, I'll reach out later and we'll take it from there. All right,
kids. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya.